I've never heard anyone talking about this. Because I think people might be afraid of this. Awakened beings still kind of like to pretend like they are sages or good people. And I cannot judge them. But I want to talk about something that happens to this character when the real self recognizes itself as the real self. And what is this? What is this? What happens actually is that you cannot be comprehended. There's no label that I cannot slap a label onto you and say that's you, because you're uncomprehendable. And what does that mean? It actually opens the door to something that is frightening, because you're not a sage anymore. You're at the same time you are this character doesn't try to play the hero anymore. It can play the hero because it just chooses to be in this love frequency, but at the same time it's not ashamed to be the trickster, because everybody is trained to become the hero. Because you want to be beautiful, you don't want to be ugly, right? You want to be smart, you don't want to be dumb. You want to be good, you don't want to be bad. You want to be the hero, not the villain. You want to be the sage, the enlightened person, the smart one. You don't want to be the ignorant, dumb, you know what I mean. You want to be the good one. So that's the duality that falls away. I hope you understand what I mean. So there's something that happens when you are identified as a person. People can manipulate you. It happens in relationships when you think that you are a good person and you do something that threatens the ego of the other, and then this person can just slap a label onto you, and then you feel ashamed about yourself. For example, if your girlfriend tells you that you're an asshole, you shouldn't reject that and argue about it. You should simply accept it and know that it's true, because you are in fact an asshole. There's an asshole in all of us. Embrace that you're an asshole and don't be ashamed of it. Just forget it and that's what it is. Because that's what is. But when you try to be the good guy or the good girl, and somebody tells you that you are otherwise, you are not that, you are the opposite, you feel threatened and you want to attack the person. Somebody told me that sometimes the way I'm answering is aggressive. And there was a time where I would have reacted like, no, I'm not aggressive. Because I want to be the good guy, right? I want to play the hero, not the villain. But now I know it's just right. Sometimes I sound aggressive. Sometimes I'm dumb, ignorant. But I'm not ashamed of it. There's no one that could be ashamed of it, right? I'm not a sage and I'm not a trickster, but I can assume the form of these archetypes. Whoever this I is that is assuming these archetypes. At the end of the day, I'm not really that. At the end of the day, I'm just what you interpret into this character. Whatever is looking at it. And even your character is whatever you are interpreting into this character, and everyone else is interpreting their own images onto the character you call I. So for some people you are a villain, for other people you are a hero, but there's never a reason to react self-defensive, because labels have absolutely no meaning. if somebody tells you that you're stupid, you have simply learned to react in a self-defensive way. But if someone tells you that you're beautiful or handsome, you've also learned how to react to that, and it's a different reaction. But both words are just labels. They are not really labels, they are just sounds, and you interpret actual meaning onto these things, and this falls away. There's no meaning you can attach to this thing, because that's just the body, and this body is... There's no one that is housing in that body. It's just a body, and you can interpret whatever you want onto that body. And it's not an awakened body. There's no one enlightened. Not even Ramana Maharshi is enlightened, because the figure Ramana Maharshi cannot become enlightened. There is simply the awareness that is unmanifested, that is recognizing itself as spaceless. It has no location, so everything you see is simply that. And this illusion of separation is seen through by no one, and you're free. Freedom means you're free to be grumpy, if that is what you have to express, right? Freedom is when you can simply be or not be. It's just let it flow. You know, it's just the flow is flowing. You don't have to check the last step you did. Like, am I doing this right? Is it really non-duality? I reacted in this way. Is it really what I say should react? No, don't. You shouldn't care if someone has a problem with you. Just you should depend on them that they should tell you. Don't ask yourself, did I behave right? No, just wait until they tell you that you did this, right? So you don't have to live in this survival anxiety. Am I still behaving right? Am I still good enough? No, it's just have the courage to be an asshole. Because most gurus try to be sages still, and that's not freedom. I think the only guru I've heard acknowledging this side of himself is U.G. Krishnamurti, and he's not afraid to shout at you. He's not afraid to tell you the truth, and he doesn't care if you tell him that he's an asshole. And he's truly free. He was truly free. He was even embracing his own ego, because he knows that it cannot be transformed into an enlightened ego. It's just what happens. Like, thinking is allowed. But at the same time, he knows that thinking just happens. There's no one inside of that head that is actively choosing to think. And that's the paradox. So at the end of the day, you are like, you can even become worse. I think even Muji said that. You know, a person that wants to awaken thinks that as soon as he's awakened, there's only love, and there is only love. But the paradox is that when love is recognized, you're finally free to be an asshole. You can actually become worse. But you don't have bad intents. You just, you know, this character isn't perfect. You embrace that fact, and you don't check yourself all the time. Like, am I even allowed to laugh now? Am I even allowed to say something or to react? Do I have the right to exist here? Do I have the right to participate in this conversation? No, you don't think about that anymore. It's just boom, it happens. Some people look at you like, what is he about? What? It's just, like, they're confused. Like, why are you so free? Like, who are you? Who do you think you are? It's just, I'm no one. That's why I'm free. I'm the biggest. I'm the greatest. I'm no one. But it's not that your ego cannot. Your ego shouldn't picture itself as no one, because that's a trap. That's another limit. So yeah, you don't check yourself, question yourself. You just let it flow. Let the Tao flow through whatever this is. And the body recognizes itself as the part of the flow, so there's no one that is living in this head and it's just without control. It's just total, You let God do whatever he wants to do, or it. Let me drink some coffee. So I think that's something some non-dual teachers are afraid to talk about, because people who want to wake up are drawn to this image of the sage, of the positive, enlightened, loving light being that transcends all ego and is better than everyone else, but at the same time so humble. People want to become that. That's a that's a desire of the ego, to become perfect, you know, the end of all therapy. Now you want to become perfect. No, you cannot become perfect. Like, this character is not perfect. The perfection is when you accept that you will never be perfect. Your wife, your husband will never be perfect. You will always be an asshole. That's freedom. But do not cling to this, yes, I'm an asshole. It's not a label. You shouldn't be attached to this label also. There's no label. That's the trick. That's not really a trick. You can look for yourself, your I, like, where's my I, Nettie, where's my I? You won't find it. You will always just find perceptions, but no perceiver. There's only perception happening, but there's no perceiver to be found. So this I is something you cannot slap a label onto, because the I don't know where my I is. There's no I. There's just happenings. Now you can label those happenings as asshole. You can label those happenings as sages or loving being, enlightened master, ascended bodhisattva, or whatever. But there's no Buddha, there's no bodhisattva, there's no asshole, there's no enlightened being, because words are just sounds and they have absolutely no meaning, just like the sound of a bird. It's just beep, beep, beep. No, it's just totally meaningless. Your thoughts are just like when you're thinking, like, there are like two dimensions to thoughts. There on the other, and on one hand, there's like the thought itself, the substance out of which it is made. It's like, feels like, I cannot describe what it is. Actually, it's just like you can't describe it. It's just you can kind of sense the substance out of which it is made, and there is also the interpretation that this thought is actually saying something, and that's the illusion. That doesn't really exist. It's a mirage. This is not a room. It's just, room is a sound. And we pretend that this sound is this. That's why, and there's a lot of confusion going on in the world. Now, I'm not saying that you should be a violent asshole and go out into the world and do stupid stuff. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that you don't have to be afraid to be whatever you are. You don't have to be afraid to express whatever the expression wants to express itself as. Do not question yourself so much. Alright? And that's it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day.